Bill Murphy is the governor of New Jersey. He says that for now the shutdown will continue. He joins us tonight. Governor, we really appreciate your coming on tonight. Thank you very much. I know you've got a lot to deal with. And I want to say at the outset that I mean this sincerely, I always presume good faith in the decisions that our leaders are making right now, because I know it's complex, especially for you, the most dense state in the country, second highest death toll. 15 congregants at a synagogue in New Jersey were arrested and charged for being in a synagogue together. Now, the Bill of Rights, as you well know, protects Americans' right, enshrines their right to practice their religion as they see fit and to congregate together, to assemble peacefully. By what authority did you nullify the Bill of Rights in issuing this order? How do you have the power to do that?
That's above my pay grade, Tucker. So I wasn't thinking of the Bill of Rights when we did this. I wasn't thinking of the Bill of Rights when we did this. I wasn't thinking of the Bill of Rights when we did this. We went to first of all, we looked at the data and the science, and it says people have to stay away from each other. That's the best thing we could do to break the back of the curve of this virus that leads to lower hospitalizations and ultimately fatalities.
And I'm not contesting that, though. I think I do think there's a debate. This is a rolling conversation because we're learning new things every day, and nothing is settled at this point.
Understood.
But I do want, since you are an elected official, a leader in the government, an executive, how do you have the authority to order something that so clearly contravenes the Bill of Rights of the United States, the U.S. Constitution? Where do you get the authority to do that?
Well, here's the thing. We know we need to stay away from each other, number one. Number two, we do have broad authority within the state. And number three, we would never do that without coordinating, discussing, and hashing it out with the leaders, the variety of the leaders of the faith in New Jersey. We are among, if not the most diverse state in America,
I'm sure that you talk to every rabbi and priest, but there's a deeper question here, and I'm just going to ask you one last time because I think it's important. I'm sure you've thought about this. You can't just, as the governor of a state, tell people who they can talk to when and where, because the Constitution of the United States, upon which all of this is based, prohibits you from doing that. So you clearly decided that you could do it. Did you consult an attorney about this? Did you? I mean, because this is a legal question as well as a medical one, isn't it?
I don't go to the men's room without consulting an attorney, so I guarantee you we did that. But I'll give you an example that was not related to the synagogue. I called up Cardinal Tobin, Cardinal Joe Tobin in Newark. There are 5 or 6 archdioceses in New Jersey. It was coming up to Easter and Holy Week in particular. And I said, listen, I'm really concerned about drive-through Holy Communion, because we had heard some stories about priests who unwittingly had the virus and unwittingly passed it on to parishioners. And he said, we're not doing that, I promise you, and I'll confirm that with my fellow bishops. That's not denying someone their right to worship in any way, that we have to find a different way to worship. And I think that's the point. God bless America.
Yeah, government's not allowed to tell people how to worship just as a sort of factual matter. Last question, sincere question. So these orders, which, again, I'm presuming and I believe were taken in good faith under trying circumstances, have nevertheless, and you just said it, have resulted in an awful lot of suffering. 577,000 New Jerseyans on unemployment. Doubtless the suicide rate will increase. The addiction rate will increase. Liquor stores are open, as we noted. How much does that weigh on you, that the suffering that this lockdown has caused might equal or perhaps outweigh what the virus does? Do you think about that?
It weighs heavily, and you ask yourself every day, are you making the right decision? And the answer is this. Twofold, Tucker. One is we continue to make every call based on the facts, the data, the science, as best we can. And secondly, I look at what we're doing versus the alternative. And I know that the alternative, had we stepped back and let this virus run amok.
Let me ask you about the specific measures you just referred to. Now, large gatherings are banned, but liquor stores are deemed an essential service. Why, on the basis of what scientific evidence did you decide that?
Couple of things. One is there are liquor stores in our state that actually have a little bit too many backroom gatherings. So we had a little bit of a challenge. We had to remind folks that liquor stores may be open, but to your point, gatherings are not allowed. We relied on a whole lot of input, reasonable input from recovery coaches, addiction coaches, and they cautioned us if we were to shutter those stores down, we'd have unintended mental health and addiction prices to pay, unintended consequences. And so far, that's the route we've taken, and my guess is we'll continue to take that route.
So, but you have closed church services and synagogue services and arrested people for attempting to attend them. Did anyone say that maybe practicing your faith might be important to someone's mental health?
Listen, I think we've had a very good common ground with faith leaders of literally every faith who understand this. And by the way, whether it's a liquor store, a pharmacy, a supermarket, we expect folks to distance themselves from each other, to wear face coverings, etc. There's an enormous amount of faith going on virtually right now, a lot of practicing going on, and we care deeply about both physical health and mental health.
Of course, but I don't want to be too persistent on this, but I think it's important. On what scientific basis did you decide that sitting in a church was much more dangerous than buying liquor in a liquor store? And why is buying liquor more important for the social fabric? I'm just trying to think. You're not the only governor who's done this, and I don't mean to pick on you, but I don't understand the reasoning. I don't want to think it had anything to do with tax revenues.
No, it does not have anything to do with tax revenues. Our revenues are so blown up, that would be a rounding error, trust me. This is not either or. It can be and both. I've spoken to Cardinal Tobin, to the leaders of the Jewish community, of the Muslim community. People are at peace where we have come out there. No one's happy. Everyone wants to get back to what they think of as the norm, and who could blame them? I want to do that as well. But I don't think these are one versus the other. I think you can have both of these realities at the same time, and that's what we have in New Jersey right now.